Like clockwork, we are back. Good morning, Wareham. It is Friday, July 24th, and we have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, learn how you could find your jailbird ancestors using prison records. We'll be airing a program by Hometown Television in Summit, New Jersey. Also, so much fuss about wearing our masks. We have Brennan, and forgive me, Brennan McKiernan in the studio this morning. He is the founder of Wareham, Helping Wareham, a Facebook page. And he is here to talk about his recent survey that he had posted on Facebook to ask the public whether they would like to post or discuss mask-related topics, given that our country now mandates that we should all be wearing our facial coverings while we are out in public, especially when we cannot safely social distance. And before we get to any of that, I would like to take this moment to thank our sponsor, Not Your Average Antiques on Route 6, for donating all the props that you see in the morning show set. So stay tuned because the news headlines and the weather report are up next. Okay, town officials orders the euthanization of 2 pit bulls following a fatal attack against another dog earlier in the year. Wareham Week reports the 2 pit bulls were unleashed when they viciously attacked Dexter, a 10-pound miniature pincer, on Swifts Beach Road when the dog was out for a walk with his owner. The owner of the pit bull said she was not home at the time of the incident and believed that one of her children's friends left the door open, allowing the dogs to escape 50 minutes before the attack. The attacked miniature pincer had to be euthanized since the medical bills to fix him would cost $10,000. Animal Control Officer Shirley Goviata Dill said the 2 pit bulls were involved in a number of prior incidents, including attacks in 2014 and 2015, several loose dog citations, and a dog bite. And Wareham School Department faces many challenges on how to reopen safely and effectively this fall. Wareham Week reports Wareham School Committee met Wednesday to tackle school reopening plan, discuss student relationship building, and how to accommodate special needs students in the fall. Superintendent Dr. Kimberly Sheverhood and school committee member Joyce Bakiaki met with the finance committee to discuss school budget implications in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. Reopening challenges include the lack of space to comply to the CDC school reopening guidelines, lack of funds to maintain adequate staffing, limitations on busing, and how to create a hybrid in-person and remote learning approach to learning, and how to teach and reinforce mask and social distancing when students return this fall. To accommodate students with special needs, the school district has formed a task force. Melissa Fay, the director of Student Services and the head of this task force, said that the team is tasked with making research-based decisions to help students who are likely to be more severely impacted by the lack of face-to-face learning. And the recent uptake of coronavirus cases on the Cape has the Cape Cod Reopening Task Force pondering why. Cape Cod Times reports the Massachusetts Department of Public Health data has recently revealed an increase of COVID-19 cases on Cape Cod, averaging 9 cases per day since last weekend. The task force wants to know the reason for the uptick, what it signifies, and the effect it could have on the region as the economy gradually reawakens. State Senator Julian Sayer said they do not know whether this increase will be sustained or will dissipate. He also urges people to cooperate with contact tracers if they receive a call. And a man was arrested for illegal striped bass fishing at Cape Cod Canal. Cape Cod Times reports that the Massachusetts environmental police officers caught a man striped bass fishing at Cape Cod Canal on Tuesday around 11:15 p.m. during a striped bass environmental patrol. The canal is currently closed to commercial striped bass fishing. The striped bass and the fishing gear were seized. The perpetrator was taken to the state police barracks in Bourne for booking. And that concludes this morning news headlines. We'll be right back with our weather.
Social distancing and staying home are the best ways to limit the spread of COVID-19. But if you must go out, make sure you cover your face. You can use anything that covers your nose and mouth, including dust masks, scarves, and bandanas. But leave the surgical masks and N95s for healthcare workers. Remember, masks slow the spread when you must go out. But staying home and social distancing are the best ways to protect yourself and others. For more information, visit mass.gov/COVID-19.
Let's start with how hot it is going to be today and throughout the entire week. Plus humidity, and do not forget the rain. It is supposed to rain today. It is nice and dry out there, but it did show that it was going to rain. That graph there does not show the little the rain that we're supposed to expect. But anyhow, 80 degrees today, cloudy with some rain showers here and there. Great day to sunbathe tomorrow, Saturday, July 25th. 85 degrees with plenty of sunshine and some rain, and 90 degrees on Sunday, July 26th. Mostly cloudy without the chance of meatballs. That comes from a little children's books. Cloudy with the chances of meatballs. That concludes this morning and this weekend's weather forecast. So yeah, make sure that you stay hydrated. And right now we are going to take a look at one of our featured programs. This morning you are going to meet Nate Tobin. Take a look.
I'm not like the busy type. I don't go out a lot.
Yeah.
I like to stay home and be outside.
Meet Nathan Tobin, a YouTuber.
Hey guys, it's me Nathan. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the P38 can opener. Today I'm going to be doing a review on this tea light candle stove. Today I'm going to be showing you my EDC. This is my army belt that I made from things I found from different stores. Today I'm going to be showing you a credit card molding tool.
WCTV visited Nathan at his home in Rochester and went behind the scenes.
Today I'm going to be showing you how to use a striker. This is a striker that has a whistle on it on the back. It has a compass, and it's just your standard striker.
So where would you take this knowledge? Where would you use this knowledge?
Say you're in the woods and you have a bug out bag and you have one of these in there instead of matches, and you have some cotton balls or lint, you can use this to start a fire.
So you have taught people so far how to use a striker to make a fire.
Yep.
What other topics have you covered?
I've taught people how to use a P38 can opener.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's what the military uses to open cans.
Nice.
I've taught people how to use a little folding stove that you can bring backpacking or camping. I've showed people my EDC.
What is EDC?
Your everyday carry.
So you will probably be the best person to survive with.
Probably.
At age 5, Nathan was drawn to nature survival tutorials on YouTube, a passion that went along with his love for the outdoors. He started his YouTube channel about a month ago, and already he has more than 100 subscribers. So for those who have been watching and learning along with you, what do you want to say to them?
Thank you for the support they've given me and everything. They've encouraged me to keep on going.
Yeah. So before you plan your next camping trip, maybe you would like to stop by at Nate T on YouTube to learn some simple tricks that would make your experience more comfortable.
And there you have your fire. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye now.
Where genius meets possibility. You think you look smart? Well, imagine if your clothes really were smart. It's simple. All you got to do is take this, turn it into that, and weave it into this. Fibers that begin with fat plastic rods could one day heat, cool, compute, and monitor our health.
There's a whole host of pretty amazing applications that could emerge if we figure out how to embed fibers with function.
With help from the National Science Foundation, a team at MIT embeds semiconductors, insulators, and metal in a polymer.
We make these shapes on a very large length scale and then draw them down into a fiber.
The embedded materials stretch along with the polymer fiber. The team is working on fibers that can see, hear, and emit light and sound. Talk about fashion forward. I'm Miles O'Brien.
Back with me in the studio is Brennan McKiernan. Did I do
yes.
great? Okay,
McKiernan.
McKiernan. All right. He is the founder of Wareham, Helping Wareham. It's a Facebook page, and where residents of this community do share advice or what's going on. Definitely a news hub, local news hub. So anyway, Brennan did post a survey about a week or so back, asking what are the rules when it comes to masks. Right now, CDC, starting July 14th, CDC did say the entire country, as a country, we should all mandate facial coverings while we are out in public. May 6th, Governor Charlie Baker did authorize and decreed that everybody, while you're out in public, please wear your facial coverings. So wearing our facial masks when we cannot socially distance has become the new norm. So he did post a survey asking people how, if we want to talk about this news about wearing our facial coverings, if we want to do public shaming when we see somebody who's not wearing their facial coverings, or a local business, that is not reinforcing the rule. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Before we get to what the survey said, let's get to know a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Brendan McKiernan. I'm a lifelong Wareham resident. We were actually just talking. I'm third generation Wareham. My grandmother graduated from Wareham, which was kind of an interesting upbringing, because a lot of my friends, it was the same situation where our grandmothers all knew each other, so we couldn't really get away with anything because our parents had gone to school together, our grandparents had gone to school together. Lily Galavati, who was the barber downtown for many years, he gave me, my father, my brother, my uncle, and my son all their first haircuts. So I mean, that's 2 generations that he was our barber. And that's just, that's kind of what started me with Wareham Helping Wareham. When this whole pandemic hit, and a lot of people were panicked and concerned. They didn't know what this meant. I mean, no one had ever experienced the government telling everyone to stay home and shut down. So, I thought about what I had known of my town, and the great part about living in this town is Wareham always rises to the occasion. Whether, whenever something happens, you look at things like Scotty Montero Foundation. And I knew Scotty. I worked with him at Mark Anthony's for years, and he's a great kid. And I saw how the community came together for him. Or a few years ago, Trey Strong was actually an example of when I saw the community just, all differences got put aside and everyone came together. And I said, well, I know what Wareham's capable of. I know, first of all, in this time, we can't look outside for help. We're not going to be rescued from Washington. For us to get through this, we're going to have to work together as a community, and we are a community, and we will rise to the occasion. So a few people I had talked to, I just said, let's start a Facebook page, just a hub where people can go to find out. At the time when this, it seems like so long ago, it was only about 3 months, where can you find toilet paper? What stores have what supplies in? And if you're going to the store, why don't you check with your neighbor first, especially elderly, and see maybe if anyone needs anything, post it here. If mothers who needed diapers and formula was one of the first things that, the first few posts that came up. And within a week, we had gone to over 1,000 members. We're right now at about 1,700 members as of yesterday. And we started March 15th, I think was the day that we founded the page. And it's been all positive.
Yeah.
You see, there's a couple different groups on Facebook for Wareham in town, and sometimes you see a lot of fighting, and why aren't you removing this post? And we haven't had. I think I've had to remove maybe 2 posts, and it was just because they were repetitive. They weren't, there was nothing wrong with them or anything offensive. It was just they weren't needed, so we got rid of them. But other than that, everyone's been very respectful and very helpful. It's just a place for positivity. So the question that I had posted, because I had seen it on other Wareham pages, was when it came to wearing masks. The question I asked wasn't so much about whether or not people felt we should or shouldn't wear masks. I'm of the opinion we should, but I understand that people are kind of on both sides because there's been so much information put out there. Some people think, no, we don't need them, and there's other people that say, of course we need them, absolutely. And I fall on that side. I made sure I brought my mask with me, but and I understand people have very strong feelings about it. But one of the things that I had started seeing was people posting saying, oh, don't go to this business. They weren't wearing masks. And I heard that this place doesn't wear masks either. And one of the things that my page has, and I say my page, but it's really our page. It's a community page. I don't really run it as much as just kind of peek in on it. And we're self-governing, and everyone's very civil with it. I just didn't want to see that kind of negativity where, if you want to report a business for not following the guidelines, that's your right. There are agencies in place for that. There's people you should call. And I didn't want our page to turn into, I went to such and such place and I heard that they aren't wearing masks. And I work in the restaurant business. The doing that on social media, I was worried that it was going to lend to people kind of doing grudges more than actually trying to factually report. You'd say, oh, for example, I work at Charlie's Place on Cranberry Highway, and someone could call up and say, well, we saw they weren't wearing masks. Well, we're very good about masks, and we do our very best to make sure that we're always wearing masks. But someone could call up a rival business and say, oh, well, we heard they aren't doing it. And I didn't think that social media was really the place for it, but I wanted to ask the community, what did they feel? And
specifically, what do you mean, what they feel like?
Well, the question I asked the page was, do you want this page to be a place where people can report businesses that aren't wearing masks? Do you want that to be something that you can come to this page to find? And the responses the 3 options I gave in my poll were, no, we don't want to talk about masks here. There's other channels for that. Let's leave it out of here. This is a positive space. Let's keep it positive. The second option I gave was, yes, but if you're going to make a post, you need to have proof. You need to have pictures that you personally took of it, of the situation, and we're going to give the business a chance to respond. And the third option was free for. I mean, if you feel it, post it. We've always made it a point not to censor. So if you want to go with it, go with it. And the overwhelming, it was something like 9 or 10 to 1. People said, we don't want to talk about masks here. We don't want this to be a space for public shaming. And that was, based on people's comments, that was really the concern. It went beyond a question of whether or not we should wear masks, because everyone, 1 or 2 people aside, everyone said, yeah, wearing masks when you're out in public is just kind of common sense and it's a good idea. But we don't want this to become a space where people are attacking and, bringing up unsubstantiated claims and hurting local businesses, because there's been so many good businesses, so many businesses you've seen in town have really stepped up to the challenge in very, very difficult times. I mean, like I said, my restaurant, Charlie's Place, has been open. Not Your Average Antiques.
Yes.
We actually, I talked to Chris when he was kind of having trouble wondering when he could open and trying to follow state guidelines. I told him, hey, post as much as you want. Advertise your business on my page. Go to Wareham, Helping Wareham, because you've always given back to the community. So go ahead and you put up whatever pictures you want. Lindsay's Restaurant is another one that I told them. I said, look, you guys always give to the community. So if you want to put up your lunch specials, go ahead. When it's free advertising, but it's advertising because you've put into the community. So please let us give back to you and let you do a little something to let us know, what we can do to help you back. And the response of the whole page has just been absolutely overwhelming. It's just all positive.
So, in what position does that put you in then? now that you know where the public is leaning, how much work is this going to add in terms of monitoring the page?
Not really. I'm,
Yeah.
One of the, I guess, advantages of this pandemic is we're on our social media a lot more. We have a little bit more free time, so we're all on our phones. Whether it's checking the news or keeping in touch with each other, we're all on our phones a little bit more. So I'm always looking at the page, and I get, updates whenever people post. And I haven't had to do anything. There hasn't been anyone posting. When I had this poll up, I also had a discussion going for a little while. And even the people that said, I want to be able to post about any business that, is doing this, were very understanding about the fact that they were in the minority and that, okay, if this isn't the place to do it, there are other pages if they want to. And there are official channels to follow if you, feel so strongly about it that you want to report it. There's official ways to do it. It doesn't really need to be on social media where things are unsubstantiated and, it's kind of a free-for-all there. It's not as, you can't monitor the entire internet, as it were. So, people have been doing, again, it just goes to show the quality of people we have in Wareham and in this town, that even with our differences of opinion on, a question like that of whether or not we should allow it, even the people that found themselves in the minority position were understanding of it, and they understood, okay, we're not going to hurt our neighbors, we're not going to hurt local businesses. They're trying to, make it through just like everybody else. And again, it just, it goes to show the kind of people we have in this town, that we've been able to maintain this page as a place of absolute positivity. Very rarely do we bring up politics. The only political thing that we talked about was when we had the Black Lives Matter protest. Jazzy, I think her last name's Andre. I worked with her at Mark Anthony's for a little while. She was organizing it, and I didn't even know it until afterwards, but such a smart girl, such a great girl that she took this, a young girl too, she took this upon herself. So, I tried to get people's opinion on it and give as much information, and, and of course, because we are the town we are, it went off without a hitch. It went off without, without the violence that people were worried about or the destruction that we've seen in other places. That's not our community. It never has been, and hopefully it never will be.
Now, so for those who were in the minority when it came to your question, what did they say? What were the reasons to substantiate their claims?
Well, and again, I don't want to, they weren't wrong in their opinion that they thought that, this is a very important health issue. The masks are, from a lot of, well, I said there's so many different reports and information out there, but I think a majority of qualified and respected sources say wearing a mask is going to be the easiest way to help, slow the curve and really try to stop this in its tracks. And that's what these people felt, is that we should all be doing it, and therefore it's our responsibility to let people know in the town, this business isn't doing it, so maybe, if you're not wearing a mask, I suppose there's a higher risk of you catching something, so be aware of that. And that was kind of their concern, is much more of a public health and safety issue of why we should allow this reporting. But again, many people felt that just because it was anonymous, the way that you could report it, you could just make up a fake screen name and put it out there. And there was really no way to verify the claim. And even if someone said, oh, I did see this person without a mask, well, they could have a very legitimate reason for not wearing that mask. My son has autism, and he has to wear masks in certain times, but it's very difficult for him. So, they might have caught someone on their 10-minute break so that they weren't wearing a mask. And there's just no way to kind of follow that up. And it just leads to a lot of negativity. And that's not, negativity is one of the last things, there's plenty of it out there. And it's one of the last things that we need in this town right now.
Very good, very good. So I'm happy to hear that you have received great feedback and that the page Wareham, Helping Wareham, has progressed has morphed into what you were envisioning.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a community page, so it's going to continue to evolve as we evolve through this. I mean, like I said, when we started this, it was much more helping your neighbor and trying to find a way to start through it. And then as the months went by, we had a lot more people posting activities, things you can do with your kids because the kids were home. So, every parent was going, well, what do I do with my kids now? I mean, we're used to a 3-month summer break. This is now a 6-month summer break, and we weren't ready for it. And even going into the fall, I think that the page is going to, and it's already started a little bit with people asking what's going on with the schools, how are we going to get through this? And I think that, I'm hoping that that page will be a hub for people to come and ask questions. I know a couple of the school committee members are members of the page, because again, we're made up of people from this town. And hopefully we'll be able to work together and find a solution. There's not going to be a blanket solution. And I highly doubt that any government is going to be able to come up with a one-size-fits-all solution to the schooling problem, particularly when it comes to masks. I mean, having kids wear it all day is just, that's going to be a challenge, I can say that. And I think that we're going to find an answer, but we're going to find an answer together as a community, the same way that, many communities around the country are going to have to, but we focus on Wareham. It's Wareham helping Wareham. It's us helping ourselves. And so far, so good. I hope it stays that way.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Brennan, for being in the
having me.
studio this morning, and I was happy to get to meet you face to
Yes,
face.
absolutely. Appreciate it.
To our viewers in the studio, it's Brennan McKiernan.
Yes.
Brennan.
No D. B-R-E-N-N-A.
Brennan McKiernan. In the studio, he is the founder of Wareham Helping Wareham, and he was talking about the recent survey that he posted in regards to wearing of facial coverings while we are out in public, and whether Helping Wareham will be another page to publicly shame local businesses that may seem as if they are not reinforcing the policy, or they're not doing a good job at reinforcing the policy. And as the survey did prove, that this community is not about that business. We're about helping and uplifting one another.
And one more thing I'd like to add, if anyone would like to join the page,
Yeah.
simply go to Wareham Helping Wareham on Facebook. We don't turn anyone down. If you live in Wareham and you're interested in Wareham, we want your opinion, we want your feedback, we want your help. So please join.
Fantastic. All right, so you've met him. You have heard from him, and as he said, you can always join. There isn't any requirement. Great. So with that, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with more.
You've always protected me.
Whoa, whoa. And I still need you. Prescription pain pills, heroin, kids are getting addicted.
Can you still protect me?
Kids who talk with their parents about opioids are less likely to misuse them. Find out what you can say.
Where genius meets possibility. You think you look smart? Well, imagine if your clothes really were smart. It's simple. All you got to do is take this, turn it into that, and weave it into this. Fibers that begin with fat plastic rods could one day heat, cool, compute, and monitor our health.
There's a whole host of pretty amazing applications that could emerge if we figure out how to embed fibers with function.
With help from the National Science Foundation, a team at MIT embeds semiconductors, insulators, and metal in a polymer.
We make these shapes on a very large length scale and then draw them down into a fiber.
The embedded materials stretch along with the polymer fiber. The team is working on fibers that can see, hear, and emit light and sound. Talk about fashion forward. I'm Miles O'Brien.
Today's cell phones are not only an extension of our arms, but a life tool. Hello, I am Maureen Farrington from Advantage Custom Apps. I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.wareham.com.
Hello, and thank you for being here with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, and more information. And now for a moment in history. Let's take a look at where we were today in history. Where the is my history? All right, this day in history, or as I like to say, this day in Bob's life's history, Bob White, but he wasn't born today in 1911. American archaeologist Hiram Bingham discovers Machu Picchu ruins. Machu Picchu is an ancient Inca settlement in Peru. It is believed to have been a summer retreat for Inca leaders whose civilization was virtually wiped out by Spanish invaders in the 16th century. Also today in history, in 1969, Apollo 11 safely returns to Earth. The U.S. spacecraft that had taken the first astronaut to the surface of the moon on July 17th, as you recall, which was last Friday, we did this. So we said bye-bye to him as he took off, and today we welcome him back. He returned today safely. And as the saying goes, one step for man, but a giant leap for mankind. Beautiful. Also today in history, in 1998, well, I was up, alive and kicking. Saving Private Ryan opens in theaters, directed by Steven Spielberg. This World War II epic starred Tom Hanks and Matt Damon. The film was praised for its authentic portrayal of war and was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. It took home 5 Oscars for Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound Effects Editing. Also for today's birthday, shout out goes to Bob White's girlfriend in his dreams, the one and only Jennifer Lopez. This hip-hop and R&B superstar was born today in 1969. She turns 50 years younger today. She was born in New York City. And happy birthday to everybody else celebrating their big day today. That is all that I have for today in history. To learn more cool historical facts, please go online under history.com. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. We're going to take a brief break.
I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.app. And then, once you bring up the web link, you have the opportunity of adding WCTV's app to your home screen. Once you download the app and save it to your home screen, you will then have the opportunity to, with the touch of a finger, hit the call button, which we call WCTV. The Refer Us button, you can refer the app to your friends and families. There's a Facebook share button if you'd like to put that on your Facebook page as well. And here is the menu tab. On the menu tab, we have YouTube videos, new program proposal, events that WCTV is hosting, a photo gallery, contact button, and can lead you right to their website. We also have a Shop Local tab. When you touch on that, you'll see the local businesses that you can frequent. Also, there's an About Us tab telling you some information about WCTV, their hours and directions. This here will take you right to their Facebook page. There is a donate button if you would like to donate to WCTV, and a join button that will let you join their community. Many local establishments are listing their business on the WCTV app. And you can too. It's a great way to showcase your business to your existing customers and your potential new ones. For a nominal fee, you could list your business on the Shop Local tab as well. A percentage of that fee goes to fund a scholarship for an outgoing senior. So be in the now and get the WCTV app on your home screen.
Okay, welcome back for today's featured program, the Coffee Segment program. We are going to air Family Historian, an episode of Family Historian from Hometown TV in Summit, New Jersey, featuring guest speaker Melissa Bozarth, teaching about how you can find your jailbird ancestors using prison records. Take a look.
Hello, and welcome once again to Family Historian. My name is Stephen Conti. Tonight, Family Historian is going to jail, and that means we're going to learn how to use prison records in finding our jailbird ancestor. And joining me on tonight's show, I am very honored to have as my guest a very bright young lady. Her name is Marissa Bozarth. Marissa is the staff historian for the Burlington County Prison Museum in Mount Holly, Burlington County, New Jersey. And on tonight's show, Marissa is going to teach us how we can use these very austere prison records. And now let's welcome historian, mother of four, and no, she has never done time, Marissa Bozarth. Marissa, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to thank you right now for driving all the way up here from South Jersey. You know, we South Jerseyans, or you South Jerseyans, and we North Jerseyans don't know much about your area of New Jersey. All we know are three towns, Atlantic City, Wildwood, and Cape May. We rarely venture into the mysterious Pine Barrens of Burlington County or visit that lovely town, Mount Holly, where your prison is, or Cherry Hill, or some of those other towns like Hamilton. So welcome to North Jersey, another culture, I guess.
Right, it is. It's a very different area.
Right.
But it's beautiful.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And so is yours.
Thank you.
Before we get into these wonderful, austere records, let's go way back in time to the colonial period. Now, you told me that there were no prisons in those days. So where did they put these people who did commit these crimes?
Most of the times they were put in private homes. Most of it was depending on the crime. More severe crime, they would send them to a larger city that would have a small jail.
Right, right. I know I was up in Salem, Massachusetts, the witch town, and they had a dungeon. They showed us where the dungeon was, where they would put people who were accused of witchcraft or other horrible crimes. So a lot of these records, these early records, if you have an ancestor who was incarcerated, those records would be where for this colonial period?
Most of those, if you're going to find anything, are going to be in that town's records. In a township office are the most likely place to find anything from that time frame.
A town archive or a county archive?
Yes, usually a county clerk's office. They're typically the one that would hold these types of records, or a township municipal building.
Right, so there were no prison records during that colonial period. Okay. All right. I was also told that you can obtain some prison records from the National Archives.
Yeah, the National Archives has a searchable database, and you can typically, depending on the crime, you could find some stuff on that database. Sometimes there's a small fee associated with obtaining a firsthand account of it, but they are available. You can get most of the information.
Right. This is amazing, Marissa. I never knew prison records were so accessible and in such abundance. And you can find them online. You can do all of this research online if you have a not so squeaky clean ancestor. Okay, very good. Now, let's jump ahead. Some prisons will still have records. They will still have their own archive. And this brings us to the Burlington County Prison Museum, where Marissa works and is a tour guide and historian. And many people come to you, descendants of these prisoners, both male and female, looking for records. And what do you call these records?
Typically, they're just prison logbooks. They're, just a book where they recorded people's names, what their crimes were, how long they were going to be in prison, things like that. And we have several of them from the beginning all the way up until the 60s.
And it will tell the nature of the crime.
Yes.
Okay. And when was your prison opened?
1811.
1811. And you had public executions there.
We did.
Until what year?
Up until 1906.
That late? 1906.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at that. Right, right. Now, I know you did bring copies of these prison logs.
Yes.
And I'm going to have our wonderful guest, Marissa Bozarth, read a few of these because they give you a wealth of information on your prisoner ancestor. Okay, it's all yours.
All right. So these records are from 1874. So they give you the prisoner's name, for example, Charles Platt, with a charge of drunkenness and vagrancy. If you're not sure what vagrancy is, it's homelessness.
Okay.
With a sentence of 60 days or until they could pay their $5.46 costs. They were in until March 1st of 1874. It also gives you the name of the committing officer, who at this point was George Rigg, and that they served a total of 60 days. So they served their full sentence.
Right, right.
Another example is Joseph Foley, who was in for disorderly conduct, who was given a sentence of 15 days on January 14th of 1874 and was committed by Charles Wolcott, and he served his full sentence as well. William Snyder, who was in for 10 days for vagrancy and was brought in January 15th and served his full 10 days as well. Some of them don't get very long sentences, such as John Small. He was also a vagrant who received a one-day sentence on January 15th of 1874 and served his full 1 day.
Right. Now, do you have people coming into the prison who might be descendants of, and how does that happen very often?
It happens often enough, more often than you would think it would happen. We get people in that ask us for information, that they've heard a story.
Right.
That, their grandfather or their great uncle or somebody had been in jail, usually for something silly,
like
and they were younger.
Right, like being a horse thief or something.
Right, exactly.
Right,
or,
right.
A drunken night out or disorderly conduct when they were young, something like that. And they want to know if the story's true. It's just been a family legend up until that point. And we can pull the logbooks and go through them for them or with them and find out, find that person and see what's there.
Right. Do most more modern day prisons have records on the premises, and are they open to the public?
The current prisons don't have them open to the public.
I see.
It has to be, I think there's a 30-year limitation before they can be public.
Right,
So for our facility, everything is public because we've extended that period.
Right.
But, yeah.
Now, your prison was built in 1811, closed in 1965, okay?
Yes.
And you told me a very remarkable story about a grandpa who had served time in the 60s. Can you share that with our viewers?
Sure.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Please.
So an older gentleman came in with his grandson and had told us that he served time in the prison not long before it had closed down. He was a young gentleman when it happened, and he brought his grandson in to show him where he had served his sentence out, and to kind of show him this is what could happen if you don't obey the law, if you don't live, properly.
Yes.
You could end up here. And now he learned his lesson. The grandfather was there. He served his sentence. He did what he had to do, but he never went back to jail again. It was enough, to kind of teach him this isn't how you want to live. And he wanted his grandson to get that same experience with him.
And he showed him his cell?
Yep,
Yeah.
he showed him his cell. He remembered his prisoner number. He could tell you people that were in the cell with him. He remembered it, even though it's prison. He remembered it fairly fondly and vividly.
A very remarkable. It's like that Scared Straight program, Don't do this,
Right. Yep.
Isn't that? I was amazed when I heard that story. Yeah. If you ever have a chance, go down to Mount Holly, which is the county seat of Burlington County. It's a lovely town, and the prison is right there. And we'll talk about your prison very shortly, and with hours of operation. And it's a wonderful place. I did take the tour alone, all by myself. It was kind of creepy, but very educational. And it's a wonderful outing for the day. Now, what I also like about doing prison research are those infamous mug shots. You've all seen mug shots, and we have a few on the set tonight. And Marissa did bring some mug shots with her. And when you're doing your research, they might even send you these, or you could find these online, as I did. And here are some criminals, and this will show you that nobody is above the law. There are some people who think they are, but that's another show. Anyway, male, female, young, old, black, white, Asian, rich, poor, anybody can be a criminal. Is that correct?
Yes, very much so.
but not us, okay. And we're going to go over these right now to show you these various mugshots and the information on the mugshot. Okay, it's all yours in alphabetical order. Okay, Marissa.
Okay, so the first one is Matthew Carlson, who was born in 1908. He is a laborer by trade with a fresh complexion. He has brown eyes, is 5'6", and also has brown hair. Identifying marks is a CEW on his left forearm and a tattoo on his right forearm. And he was arrested for housebreaking and various classes of larceny.
Oh, my word. Well, what is larceny?
Theft.
It is theft. Okay, all right. I see that word a lot.
Yep.
Okay, who's up next? The lineup.
John Gallagher, who was born in 1901, who's also a laborer with a fresh complexion. That he has hazel eyes and brown hair and is 5'7.5". He has minus a left eye, so he is missing his left eye. And he is in for public housebreaker and also steals from motor cars and uses various methods of entry.
Isn't that something? Now, these prisoners were not in your prison.
They were not.
No.
No.
Okay. But you did have one famous prisoner.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers who that was?
We had Albert DeSalvo in the 1950s, better known as the Boston Strangler.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, he was only there for 2 days before the Boston Strangler incidents took place.
Right.
He was stationed at Fort Dix at our local military base and committed a crime off base. So he was brought to our facility.
This is before he became the famous Boston...
Right.
Right, okay.
Yep.
And he was in your prison. That's your claim to fame
That's
there.
it.
Okay. All right, let's keep going here.
Yep. All right, so we had James Hargraves Jones, who was born in 1896 and is a molder by trade. He has blue eyes and brown hair and is 5'1.5". His marks is that he has a round scar on the right side of his face. And his crime is that he begs in residential areas and breaks into houses which he finds unoccupied.
Okay. And this one, we have a lot of information on this fellow right here.
This is Charles Johnson. He is from Chicago. He is a laborer by trade. His criminal occupation is a burglar. He was 23 years old at the time of his arrest.
Yeah.
He's a little over 5 feet tall. They even give you his weight. It's not 155 pounds. Medium build, light complexion. So you really get an idea of what they looked like.
Yes.
He was arrested on July 21st of 1896. It tells you who he was arrested by, even though I can't make it out. And he was charged with burglary in that instance as well.
You know, hearing these crimes, Marissa, compared to what's going on today, I mean, I'm afraid to watch the news,
Right.
as I'm sure you people are. These are just very mild crimes.
Right. And most of them that you come across in the books or in the older records are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to what's going on today.
Yes.
And you, as a mother of 4, it's really astounding to you, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
It
yes.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, what do your kids say when you tell them, "Mommy's going to prison today to work or whatever"? What, I guess they're used to it.
They are. They're used to it. They've been there. They've toured the building. They've been there for events. So it's kind of a second nature at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hear on Halloween they had some kind of event there. Is that correct?
We used to do a big haunted house on Halloween.
At the prison.
At the prison. Yeah, we don't do it any longer. It outgrew us.
Right.
So they relocated, but we did it for a number of years.
Right. Now, the modern day prison for Burlington County in Mount Holly, which is the county seat, is right behind you.
Yep.
That's the real deal right
Maximum security is directly behind us.
there. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go onward with these inmates.
Right, the next one is James Lowry. He has an alias of Johnstone and the Sunderland Kid. He was born in 1892 and is also a laborer by trade. His blue eyes and brown hair. Is 5 foot 6 inches tall. His marks are a tattoo with dots and a web on his left hand. And he has a scar on his right hand. And he was in jail for larceny from a person and robbery. An expert pickpocket and associates with all classes of pickpockets.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So this gives you a wealth of information,
They
the
do.
researcher. And as I said, these can be sent to you upon, they'll send you
request, yeah.
upon request. So you get so much information, you know, and so I guess it pays to have an inmate in the family. Who knows? Okay, let's go onward now.
Okay. Alexander Murray, who was born in 1906. He has blue eyes, fair-colored hair. He is 5 foot 7 inches. And he was arrested for larceny and shop breaking. And it specifically says he enters by means of skylight in the roof.
They're so detailed.
Yes, and his is interesting. There's a handwritten note on his that says R.I.P. London in 1940 in the Blitz. So it gives you even more information as to
that's
how he would have
wonderful.
passed away.
He died during the Blitz in England.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Now, I know we've been showing you all of these male inmates, but you ladies, you're up there also. Don't worry. Okay, equality. We have equality here. And I think these are older mugshots because the woman in this picture has like a blackboard in front of her. And can you tell us who she is?
That's Jane Forbes, who was arrested on larceny, I believe in 1905.
Which is theft, larceny. Okay, okay, all right. And what is grand larceny? Is that a...
It has to do with the value of what you're stealing.
I see, I see. You can tell I'm squeaky
So
clean,
there's,
right? Yeah.
there's petty larceny and grand larceny, and it just depends on the value.
Petty is the least.
Right. Yeah, if you're stealing something larger, something worth more money, it would be going up to grand larceny.
I see, okay. All right, and that's her. And then we have another lovely young lady here.
Yep. Also arrested for larceny, Mary A. Butts, also arrested in 1904.
So these are very early ones.
Yes.
Yeah, 1904. And then I think we have one more lady here.
Yes. This is Minnie Richards.
And you get a profile shot of her.
Yes, you get 2 pictures for her. and more information because it's a little bit more sophisticated record. Her weight, she was 103 pounds, was 5'7". She has a fair complexion. She was born in Chicago, and her crime was shoplifting at the Borton store.
At the what store?
Borton. They give you the store name.
And she was shoplifting.
And she was shoplifting, yes.
Right.
She was 18 years old at the time, it says.
So I wonder how the descendant feels when he or she sees this.
Right.
But you know, that's life. You know, your ancestors, not all of them made the right choices. And we saw people here tonight who did not make the right choices. And I'm sure if all of you did some deep digging with distant cousins, in my case, from the same family, I'm related to a saint, Padre Pio. I'm a distant cousin to Padre Pio.
That's cool.
And from that same family, I'm related to a notorious drug lord in Miami, Florida. We all share the same DNA. It's amazing. I mean, these are distant cousins, but they came up in my DNA. I had that DNA test done.
Right.
And this is what I found, you know. So that's life, you know.
Yes.
And we're going to show you a series of mugshots right now. And as I said, nobody is above the law. Male, female, black, white, Asian, rich, poor, from all ethnic backgrounds. And unfortunately, that's part of life. Let's talk about your prison.
Okay.
The one that you go to, but you're not there every day.
No, I'm not.
You're not. You go to other areas in Burlington County.
Yep.
And you are the historian for Burlington County, or for just these local places?
For just the ones that are local, that are run by our Parks Department.
And can you name them?
Smithville Village, the Prison Museum, and the Lyceum of History and Natural Sciences.
Very good. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks.
And how do you do all of this being the mother of 4?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay.
But it's fun. I enjoy it. So.
All right. Let's talk about the Burlington County Prison Museum. And you must visit this. There are other prison museums in America that you can visit as well. But let's talk about yours first. And we have a book on the Burlington County Prison Museum right here. What are the hours of operation and the days that you're open, and what can people expect to see there?
So it's open year-round. Thursday through Saturday, they're open from 10 to 4, and Sundays from 12 to 4. Typically, it's a self-guided tour.
Which I experienced.
Yep.
Okay.
There are signs through the building and displays to show you what it would have looked like if you had been in prison in certain time periods. So we take you from 1811, how it would have been when the jail first opened, all the way up into the 1950s and 1960s, closer to the end, and how things shifted. So there's displays relating to that. There's the warden's office. You get to see all 3 floors. Cells are open for people to walk in and out of. The courtyard is open as well, where we have the gallows, where those executions that you mentioned took place. So you get to see that. We also have an audio tour, so if people don't want to just walk around and read the signs, they could, for an extra fee, you can get an audio tour. And by appointment, you could get a tour guide.
Right.
So if you have a larger group or something like that, as long as you call ahead, we can make sure somebody is there that can give you a private tour.
Wonderful, wonderful, yeah. And you've been working there for how long? How long have you been in prison?
I started there in 2003, so 16 years.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The Burlington County Prison Museum, it's a must-see in South Jersey. So all of you northern New Jerseyans and people elsewhere, go there. Okay. Now, there's another prison museum. You are from Pennsylvania.
I am.
And so you know this one, the Old Jail Museum in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. And can you tell us something, because I've done the tour here as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about this prison here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little bit newer than the Mount Holly prison, the Burlington County Prison. But it's a totally different experience if you go to that one than as opposed if you come to ours.
Right.
But they do guided tours on a regular basis as well, where you get to go into the dungeon in the basement. It's a little creepy.
I was there. I
A little
was there.
creepy.
Yeah.
You see where they did executions as well. Theirs were different. They did theirs inside where ours are outside. You get
Yours
to
were
see
in the
that.
courtyard.
Yeah.
In the courtyard.
Yep. All outside in the courtyard. So, but you get to see that as well. See the cells, see how prisoners were held, hear about one of their infamous cases with the Molly Maguires.
Yes.
And murders that took place. They do a whole big thing on that. So it's a neat place. It's worth the visit.
Great, great. Now, there is a website. There's a website for almost everything nowadays. This one is called Black Sheep Ancestors. And we once did a show on finding your pirate ancestor. This is like having your offbeat black sheep family member research. And Black Sheep Ancestors will list prisons state by state and what their holdings are. So if you have an ancestor who was in prison in Pennsylvania or in New Jersey, in New York, or up in Ohio somewhere, you can go there, Black Sheep Ancestors. And you can also find a pirate in your family, or if one of your, this is horrible to say, if one of your ancestors was deemed insane. They have records of these homes where they would place the insane people years ago. I hate to use that word, but that's what they called them at those times.
Yes.
Well, listen, this has been a wonderful interview with Marissa Bozarth, historian for the Burlington County Prison Museum in Mount Holly, Burlington County, New Jersey. I can't wait till I go to jail now and do some research. Thank you so much, Marissa, for coming all the way up here and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. And as I say every time I do this show, we are all descendants of ancient civilizations. Genealogy is your key to the history of your family. And so until next time, this is Stephen Conti wishing you the very best of luck in your research and above all, happy ancestor hunting. Good night.
Thank you for joining us this morning for another program, Good Morning Wareham. If you missed us, this show will air this evening at 6 p.m. We'll also be back next week on Monday with more for you. I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Bye, Wareham.